when you look at what he did for her, we don't know the extent of their relationship for her to go get that young nigga dick. And that young nigga dick can be good too now. Them young nigga be on them dreads, fuck along with him now. Got some tricks we can't do. Suck ass, eat pussy, all kind of shit. So nigga, we might be boring after so long. And that young dick thrilling and appealing for that feeling. So, chill, nigga. Yeah, they might get back together.
Charleston White has made shocking claims about Remy Ma and Papoose's relationship, and believe me, it's not what you think. For years, fans have praised Papoose as the most devoted husband, holding Remy down while she was in jail, supporting her through everything, and standing by her side. However, what if I told you that the true story behind Remy Ma's alleged infidelity is much deeper than we ever imagined? There is a sinister reason why Remy Ma came out, and if Charleston White just revealed information that could alter Eve or anything else, it could completely change the story we believed to be true. Was it revenge? Was it a setup? Or was it their supposedly ideal love story? Never authentic in the first place. Brace yourself, because this is going to get dirty. Stay tuned until the very end, because the revelations that Charleston White just revealed may leave you stunned. Again, Charleston White has simply. When it seemed like the rumors surrounding Remy Ma and Papoose couldn't get any wilder, Charleston revealed one shocking revelation after another, revealing that the true reason Remy Ma allegedly cheated on Papoose is much deeper than anyone could have ever imagined. If what he's saying is accurate, then everything we believed to be true about their relationship for years was a complete lie. Papoose, the ultimate ride or die, was hailed as hip-hop's most devoted husband. He never faltered in his devotion to Remy regardless. He waited, held her down, and never cheated, and when she finally returned home, he was ready to give her everything. However, Charleston White claims that the truth was much more nuanced, as behind the scenes, Remy Ma wasn't as happy as everyone thought. When she was sentenced to 6 years in prison, fans saw him as the epitome of what a true man should be. When Remy was released from jail in 2014, according to individuals close to the marriage, she was a different person. 7 years in prison can transform anyone, but she had changed and seen. Seeing life from a whole different angle, Papoose was still the same guy she left behind and wanted to continue their relationship exactly where they left off. But Remy had changed, and this is where things start to get sticky. Charleston White asserts that Remy may not have really desired to wed Papoose prior to her incarceration. Rather, she was allegedly coerced into doing so by those close to her, including her management, close friends, and even Papoose himself, all of whom supported it because it made for an ideal narrative. Picture a young female rapper at. Her career would have ended if she had abruptly dropped out of the spotlight, but by marrying Papoose and keeping their romance in the public eye, she managed to stay relevant, and her name was never forgotten because Papoose made sure that everyone would always remember her. But here's the twist. While the world witnessed a lovely love story, Remy realized she was falling into a trap the instant she left the prison. She didn't feel liberated. Instead, she felt as though she was entering a part that had already been predetermined for her.
And Remy Ma, they reportedly, he held her down for 6 years while she was locked up. She's reportedly messing with a younger battle rapper right now. Ooh. Is real love, is that a thing of the past? Because of, it's so easy to get women now. It's so easy on the internet.
Love still exists. Nothing new is up under the sun, homie. It's just that the people before us was more loyal and committed and got past. It's just that the people before us was more loyal and committed and got past what they felt. This is a emotionally responsive group of humans. They think what they feel make them right. You have a right.
And Papoose wanted everything to go exactly as he had planned. He had spent 6 years creating an image of their love, and he expected Remy to fit in right away. However, Charleston White claims that the first few months following her release were tense because Papoose was attempting to control everything: her career, her decisions, even her public image. At first, Remy tried to comply because she owed him that much. After all, he waited for her, held her down, and fought for her, but deep down, resentment began to grow every time she wanted to make a bold move in her employment. Every time she attempted to work with new artists, Papoose was there to point out what she should and shouldn't do. Every time she complained about something, Papoose reminded her that he had given up everything for her and urged her to remain loyal to the individuals who had assisted her. The cheating scandal, according to Charleston White, wasn't just a random error. It had been simmering for years, with sources allegedly leaking private conversations. She claims that Remy began feeling suffocated before finding comfort elsewhere. This is where things get really crazy. Remy Ma confided in another guy long before the affair was made public. She told him everything, including how she felt confined, how tired she was of being controlled, how she didn't feel like she had the space to be herself. And this is the most hilarious part. Charleston White claims that Papoose knew the truth weeks before the public did. He had seen the late-night texts, heard the quiet phone calls, and when he confronted Remy, everything exploded. It wasn't just about betrayal. It was about everything. Papoose knew this before the news even broke, before the rumors began to circulate, before the blogs got hold of the story, which had been accumulating for years. Papoose fell deeply in love. Angry and perplexed, this was the conclusion of everything he had done. All the sacrifices, and his repeated demonstrations of loyalty. Charleston White says that Papoose didn't die easily. He tried to keep the marriage intact, talk it out, and even forgive her. However, by the time the world learned that she had moved on mentally, Remy might have already checked out, and the love story that fans so strongly believed in was already over. This is where things get even more bizarre. According to Charleston White, Remy Ma's infidelity was about more than just her or love. The reason Remy M left Papoose could be the biggest scandal yet, and if what he's saying is accurate, this is only the beginning of the real story. Trust me, you won't believe what happens next. I felt trapped, but there was something even bigger at work. The world fell apart around Papoose as he sat there, the truth crushing him and pressing against his chest like an insurmountable weight. He had sensed the slight changes in Ren's behavior from a distance, but he had refused to believe it. Now, there was no doubting that she had cheated on the woman he had defended, and remained faithful to through everything. Charleston White claims that when Papo confronted Remy Ma, she was expecting her to ask for forgiveness, cry, and fight for their marriage. But instead she just stared at him without saying anything or offering an explanation. This silence was louder than any excuse she could have given for Papoose, and it was the height of betrayal. He had built his entire life around this woman while she was in prison, and he waited while the world moved on. He reminded the industry of her identity and held her down. Now that she had ripped their entire love story apart, things got even worse. According to Charleston White, the real reason Remy Ma cheated wasn't about love, rather, it was about power. For years, Papoose had been the foundation of their relationship, the one who kept things stable and ensured that their love remained strong. However, as soon as Remy Ma was released from prison, she began to realize that she no longer needed Papoose, and more insiders claim that Remy began to feel trapped, as though she was still being forced to live in the shadow of her past. She had spent years in prison, and now that she was free, she wanted a new beginning. But that new beginning did not include Papoose Charleston White, who says that Remy had been planning her breakup for a long time. It wasn't just about passion, though. It was about breaking free, and the man she cheated with wasn't just any old guy. He was someone from the industry, someone Papoose knew, someone who had been watching, waiting, and making his move for a long time. When Papoose discovered the truth, everything exploded. For years, Papoose had been known as the cool, level-headed, and devoted husband, the man who embodied Black love commitment. Family-oriented principles, however, he lost it when he discovered who the other man was. According to several eyewitnesses, it wasn't nice when Papoose confronted the V face-to-face. Some believe it happened at a studio, while others say it was at a private event. "You think you can play with my family?" Papoose yelled, his voice trembling with anger. The other man attempted to shrug it off, appearing calm, but before he could react, Papoose swung, and chaos ensued. Security had to pull him away before things worsened, according to some stories, while others claimed Papoose put the guy down with a single blow. But here's the most bizarre. When Remy Ma was present, she witnessed everything. Rather than running to Papoose's aid, she chose to support the other man, and Papoose finally recognized that the physical altercation was finished after things had gotten out of hand. In addition to heartache, Papoose was also being publicly humiliated by the industry, and rumors began to go like wildfire. Had Ray been miserable for years, or was Papoose truly the ideal husband? Did he overlook the warning signs because he was too preoccupied with loyalty to see that their love had already faded? Papoose, according to Charleston White, says, was broken. He had fought so hard to keep their love safe, but in the end, he was the only one fighting, and that's when he finally realized that the Remy Ma he loved was no longer there. With Papoose out of the picture and Remy fully embracing her new life, the question of whether it was all worth it. Did Remy Ma throw away a loyal man for temporary excitement? Or was Papo just a chapter in her past that she had outgrown? Remains. This love story didn't end happily ever after. It ended in betrayal, heartbreak, and unanswered questions. Papoose left, but that didn't mean the suffering stopped. In fact, it was only getting started. Even though he made a concerted effort to remain calm in public, those close to him knew that the betrayal had taken a heavy toll, and the industry was talking, and the streets were ablaze with stories. Papoose is viewed as a man who has sacrificed all by some, while others began to wonder if his commitment was a sign of weakness rather than virtue. How could Papoose, who is a strong, intelligent, and committed man, have failed to see this coming? How could he have failed to recognize that the lady he fought so hard for had already looked into Charleston White's claims that Papoose was fighting behind the scenes in ways that no one had ever seen before? This wasn't just about losing a relationship. It was about losing his identity. For years, Papoose had been known as the ultimate husband, the ride-or-die partner, and the man who prioritized his family. But now that image was shattered. He had spent more than 10 years showing the world that true love still existed, that loyalty mattered, and that a man could support his woman no matter what. And yet here he was humiliated and completely off the grid for a while, according to some sources. Interviews, as well as refraining from discussing the matter in public, there are many who assert that he had extensive discussions with attorneys to determine his next course of action. Would he attempt to save his marriage? Or was this the end? Remy was acting differently in the meanwhile. She wasn't hiding, crying, or even turning around, and that was the part that hurt the most, as everyone had assumed. Remy Ma should have at least expressed regret and acknowledged the hurt she had caused by breaking the heart of the one man who had never given up on her. But instead she pretended nothing had occurred and was seen smiling at events. When it seemed like things couldn't get any worse, Remy did the unthinkable. She went on a podcast and addressed the situation for the first time, addressing the rumors, the cheating allegations, and the claims that she had betrayed the man who had been faithful to her for more than 10 years. Her remarks left everyone stunned, according to Charleston White, who claims that rather than refuting the cheating allegations, Remy posted on social media, and the man she had been caught with was right there with her. Something much worse was done by May. She explained that people grow apart, that sometimes love changes, that we've been together for a long time, and that I think people forget that relationships change. She even went so far as to say that loyalty is important, but happiness matters too. The internet went crazy because people couldn't believe what they were hearing. Remy. Should May have truly abandoned Papoose because she desired something different, the retribution would have been instantaneous. He had given her everything. Online, fans began disparaging her, calling her unfaithful, ungrateful, and callous. Memes flooded social media, and the hashtag Justice for Papoose began trending. Papoose remained silent, didn't respond, didn't post, and didn't attempt to defend himself, but those closest to him claimed that this was the last straw. According to Charleston White, Papoose finally understood after watching that interview that the woman he loved was no longer there. She was not the same person he had battled for, and he had written songs about her. She had moved on, and it was time for him to do the same. However, before he could completely leave, there was one more shocking revelation to make because people were unaware that Papoose had been preparing for this moment for a long time behind the scenes. According to people close to him, he had been loyal to Remy Ma in every way possible, but he had also been paying attention and had recognized the signs. As a result, before things even reached this point, he had already begun taking steps to secure his financial future legally and emotionally. He had been organizing his affairs, and when the time came, he didn't simply walk away. Instead, he took everything with him. Rumors began to circulate that Papoose had discreetly removed his name from certain joint business ventures, securing his own financial future. Had renegotiated agreements to make sure he wouldn't lose money if things didn't work out, and some even claimed that he had already begun working on new music behind the scenes that would eventually give his side of the story. Papoose wasn't broken, he was just getting started. Remy Ma was out here pretending to have won, while Papoose was quietly rebuilding. The question now is, who really won? Did Remy make the biggest mistake of her life by betraying the only man who truly had her back? Or did Papoose walk away from a love that no longer served him and realize his worth? If there's one thing we know about Papoose, it's that he never gives up easily. Do you think Remy Ma threw away a faithful man for short-term thrills, or was Papoose simply clinging to something that was already dead? Is this betrayal unforgivable? Or do you think second chances are possible? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and enable alerts because this story is far from over. There will be more drama, secrets, and surprising revelations soon, and I promise you won't want to miss it. Please share your opinions in the comments section below. We're reading them all.